questions, and just insert your hobby, okay? For those that, she says, I've heard Kat say there's no time in heaven and no clock. But what about the clock and watchmakers and those who love the beauty of clocks? I have 50 clocks all over my house. Can I have clocks that pretend to tell time?
Pretend. Well, I do have an answer for that. I told you that God doesn't count time according to minutes and hours and stuff like that. He counts time. I know there's no normal time like here. There's not 24 hours a day. You don't only have this much time before the sun goes down, so you have to hurry. That doesn't happen in heaven. God counts time by events. So you can have a clock that will count off the clock, the events. Like when an event is going to happen in heaven, there is a sound put forth that sounds just like an alarm on a clock, not a noisy one. But you hear chimes and music. You will literally hear chimes and music and bells all over heaven. And I never told this to anybody before. They have like clock things, but they don't count minutes and seconds and hours. They count events.
Wow. So they would have, as it were, a thing on the mantle that would count events and keep track of all events, maybe?
It would know automatically. That clock in heaven would know automatically when an event was approaching in heaven, that people would be invited.
What about a person who loves painting so much? Every so often they repaint their entire house with a different scheme because it's so fun to do that.
That he doesn't mind at all. I have seen people change the color of their home, their mansion on the walls. Some of their mansions have living things on it, so they wouldn't necessarily paint it with just paint.
Yeah, whatever light you talked about.
Light. They would use light to paint. Even the paintbrushes of artists, it's light, it's liquid light. So you would use light to paint, different colors of light to paint walls in your place. Or you could have scenes like a living ocean, and you could hear the ocean. It would be actually crashing in the wall. It's not like inside panels. I'm saying on the wall, it would be like almost a 3D literal thing of the part of the ocean would be in there crashing back and forth in and out of the wall.
Almost like a 3D video. Now, I watched a special yesterday, and the woman said, from dawn to dusk, all my husband ever did, he'd gone to be with the Lord, is he loved cars. He liked working on them, but he loved cars. He'd talk about cars. He'd trade cars. He'd buy cars. He'd sell cars. He'd paint cars. What's that person going to do in heaven as it relates to that, if anything?
They'll be holding car shows. They have car shows in heaven in almost every type. Yeah, they do, because people love them. And like you said, that is the gift God put in them. That's why they have a passion for it. They probably would be changing, like we were just talking about, not painting the walls of your home, but they probably would be changing the images that were on the cars, or even how the cars operate. But they totally have, they even have antique car shows. They look like real antiques.
Really?
Yes, because people love that thing. They have rodeos, they have antique car shows, they have like the cars that used to go up and down the drive or the strip, whatever.
Yeah, the drag races, right?
Yes, and guess what? They have all these hamburger places. I'm not kidding. People love these things, and some of the things from the past are good, but he made them like they adapted to heaven culture, of course. So they'd have different ways to do all these things, and the cars would probably float, not necessarily drive. They might even fly sometimes. Wow. And they could even have, like, instead of having like a strict drug strip where you just put the pedal to the metal, you'd be flying to see who could fly the fastest.
I hope that there's a bunch of ladies that are hearing this about rodeos, and some of them were be into the rodeos and cars too. So I don't want to typecast this, but I hope you're telling your husbands and boyfriends and sons and they have rodeos. Have rodeos, they have cars, they have drag races, they have car shows, they have antique shows. If I could get my head around, and I suppose they would have gem shows too. Then because you would look at the different gems and somebody collects them all.
Oh, they absolutely have. They have gem shows. The gems in heaven, they have a frequency that make a sound, and you can arrange different types of gems to make like a melody. So you're not just looking at gems, you're hearing the sounds that they're making. That's what I mean when there's another whole dimension of things in heaven that aren't on the earth that still relate to things that we liked.
They must therefore have cake contests where people bake cakes, and
yes.
Okay, so ladies, listen up, and I don't mean to
like cake like this.
Oh my goodness, that looks good. I can't tell because it looks all white, but what kind of cake is that?
It's carrot cake, but this would be a crumb. This would be considered a crumb of cake in heaven.
Carrot cake. If I didn't have an angel food cake at my wedding, I would have had a carrot cake, my favorite. And then there's German chocolate and real chocolate. So you've got all of those things. You've got.
You have festivals. They have festivals. They have exhibitions. It's not about you winning money or anything, but they get blue ribbons. And God, Jesus especially, likes to be one of the judges because he loves sweets. And they totally do. I see on the steps of the throne sometimes where people bring like treats or sweets that they made for Jesus and they leave them there.
I'm going to really stretch this, okay, because we're in it. I might as well stretch it. So I have sons-in-laws that love guns, but you know, they're one is a hunter, and one just loves to shoot. Oh, that looks so good. So are they going to have sharp shooting contests or target shooting contests or bow and arrow shooting contests?
Yes, but they get to go to a special place when they do that.
Where's the special place?
The far side of heaven where the army is.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So they go where the other people love weapons.
They go, yes, big weapons, strange weapons, powerful weapons. They do. They hold events everywhere. So even Michael, they have a big event that goes on, and they want people they test their skills. It's not like I'm going to shoot somebody's out. Can I shoot that squirrel out of the tree? That squirrel would come and get you if you thought you were going to shoot that squirrel. And by the way, in the rodeos, the bulls will be saying, "You think you ride me? That is not going to happen. I'll fuck you off."
Well,
they do have these. They have exhibitions. They even have something. One of the first times I was taken to this place. It's where they do their training. They do training in the army. They run maneuvers. They test out new things. They're always created to have new things. But they run maneuvers and they do testing. They have a testing range. I don't remember what they call it, but they do. And so people go there that want to test their skills either by the old weapons they used to use or by the new weapons that they now see there that shoot like lightning bolts or rays or stuff like that. Wow. And things they never dreamed of. So these people who love it, they're not going to go kill somebody with something. You're not going to kill an animal in heaven. That ain't going to happen. Those creatures aren't going to let you do that. There's a place where you hunt, but you only hunt in the mountain of spices. And that's with a scope camera. It looks like a gun, but it's a camera. And you have to capture the picture of whatever that creature is. And it sends it back to the hunting lodge. They have a hunting lodge because it's very funny. When you go back in there to see what you bagged, but with your camera, and there's your face in the middle of this big monitor, and then down here in the corner is the creature that captured you first on their stove.
Oh, now that's funny. That's funny. Now I used to, I took horsemanship at the university, and then I did it at camp. I used to do barrel racing on a horse.
They have it.
Then I finally got kicked, and I decided that was enough for me if I wanted to have a family. But
you won't get kicked in heaven. You won't get kicked.
So they have barrel races and jump, obstacle jumping.
Yes,
I can't remember what it's called. There's a term for it, but yeah. Why can't I think of the term? Yeah, but that was, and then did they, when I was there, I dated a girl, and then we did horse showmanship, and they dress all up, and they do English riding and Western riding and confirmation.
Of course they do it. It makes no sense whatsoever to the human mind down here would think all we do is worship. I think God would be bored. Okay. No, he's not having millions of his kids come home to heaven and not have anything to do. Of course,
So good.
everywhere you go, you worship. When you see your mansion, when you get to enjoy the places that he made, everyone shouts and worships God. It's called living worship. So our
That's so
worship
good.
doesn't only take place in the throne room, it's our lives, okay?
Well, one last attempt at stretching our brains here. Dog shows. Dog shows. We love dogs. I've never done a dog show person. Dog shows and dog competitions, and how about that?
Do you think your pet who was used to that stuff on the earth was going to not want to do it in heaven?
We do the diving, you know, we throw the frisbee and they jump to see which dog jumps the furthest. That was fun.
I'm
So
sure
all of that.
they'll jump really high in heaven as they're shouting at you. Watch me catch this one.
Dogs love to do that, jump that frisbee off the dock. It's so amazing.
So
Well, you know what? Go ahead.
In case people think that I'm concerned that you don't believe any of this, it doesn't matter to me because you're going to find out anyway when you get there. But I am commissioned to share with you what I saw. That's why I'm not taken just for me. I've never even seen my own mansion. I've seen probably thousands and thousands of mansions, but not mine. He takes me so heaven can be revealed. Why wouldn't there be life? The trees are alive. The flowers are alive. Of course, your pets are going to be there. And yes, they remember you. So that's why people are so excited when they get there and they go, there's so much life here and excitement and even adventure. Of course, still nothing will ever be greater than being with Jesus Christ. That is everybody's favorite thing to do, is to be with him. And he does. He goes everywhere in heaven all the time, greeting people, being with people. He'll play golf with you. He'll ride in the rodeo with you. He'll go to the sporting events with you because he loves to be with you.
I'd love to play volleyball and spike it against Jesus.
Oh, I'm sure you probably wouldn't have very much of a chance of winning, but try anyway.
Oh, what about a cabinet maker or contractor or carpenter? Jesus was a carpenter. And he wants to make furniture for people in heaven who have a new idea about, I'd love to have something that does this. Can you be a carpenter in heaven for the fun of it?
Yes, because that was his gift. I mean, that was a gift. That was a natural gift that Christ had. It wasn't just a way to have a living. He made him a carpenter. He came as a carpenter already. And Christ does still do carpentry. Now, I know the Bible says that our mansions and those things up there, he goes to prepare. Jesus goes to prepare a place for us. And so he is mainly the master builder. And he will design mansions. And he will build probably the outside structure, part of the inside. But he totally allows other people with those gifts to be a part of people's mansions. And so that doesn't go away. If you love to build, if you love to make things beautiful, like interior design and all that stuff, architecture, he includes you in those projects, but he is still the master builder.
Well, I bet this is going to be a very popular episode because people need to be sending this to their neighbors, friends, enemies, whatever.
Enemies, yeah.
Need to be telling people how great heaven is, and that we are a shadow of what is in heaven.
That's right.
The reality is there. So the very fact that there's barrel races in here probably means it was an idea of the Lord in heaven. The angels probably got together and said, let's create a barrel. We'll call this a barrel. And then you
well, horses have always been in heaven. They've always been there. Even before he made the earth, there were horses in heaven. It's one of my favorite creatures.
They love to run. So
they do
why would we deprive them of horse and barrel races?
No, I know it.